It's giving, looks good on paper to me. Great career prospects, great family background, similar cultural background. Seems like we want the same things, some kids, a dog, nice home. The future's looking bright. So, yeah, looks like this is the one. Woo! Well, before we get into that, in terms of how we come to these decisions as women on who to marry, let me just take a moment and introduce myself. My name is Marissa Senya, and I am a freedom coach. I help women who are trapped in unhealthy relationship dynamics by providing strategic counseling and resources so that they gain the confidence, clarity, and support they need to make a peaceful exit from relationship dynamics that no longer serve them. So in today's video, I just want to take a moment to unpack this concept of why we as women, particularly when we're younger and feeling a lot more pressure, come to the decision to choose a partner that may not be the right person for us long term. Sometimes we could call that settling, even though we may not see it as settling at that time. It may seem like a practical decision. The decisions that were, put in front of us, it seemed like, okay, this is the thing to do. So there can be this temptation, right? This temptation to lock it in, to zero in on finding the right person. And that temptation comes very early for women. And this seems like it's a global phenomenon, because I have spoken to women all over the world, and that pressure is real. It doesn't matter what they have attained professionally, what they're pursuing with their education. It always seems as if they have not secured a mate, that husband, then maybe the family won't be satisfied, and the society at large, the culture, the community that they are part of won't be satisfied. There are these questions, and these are conversations I remember having with my friends very early, as early as college, and of feeling that pressure. And obviously it wasn't a pressure that a lot of my male friends felt, unless maybe they were growing up in a very highly conservative, religious background. But even then, men in those spaces seem to have more time than women. And speaking of time, one of those factors that can make it feel tempting and to want to zero in and settle for someone is biological, right? Let's just be frank about that. We as women, we have a biological clock, and we don't have the luxury of sitting back and say, if we want to have children, that is, because not all women want to have children, but for women who want to have children, we tend not to have that luxury of saying, okay, we can wait, 20, 25, 30 years, 40 years to start a family. That's just not in the cards for us in that way as it is for men. And so, that pressure is real, but at the same time, doesn't necessarily mean that we should go to college and then say, okay, I want to get married right after college, because we have more time than that. But the reality is that pressure comes quick and fast. I think another real issue here is that that there's this allure of security, right? It's that box that we are supposed to check of, okay, going to school, becoming a professional, having a partner so that you can have the family. You can't have the family without the partner. So it is this major box of, okay, then life feels a bit more secure. It means that these other goals that I have are more attainable. The house, you know, growing up in a certain community, what I want or what you want for your children, those things feel like they can happen because the partner is in sight. So that's supposed to be the key component of making, you know, those other dreams come true, is having that support. And, you know, feeling that sense of protection, and saying, okay, this person is checking all the things, and wanting to have that sense of, okay, this is a life goal. This is what I've been told is a life goal. Whether I believe that or not, that's a story for another day. But this sense of, here's what I've been told I need to pursue, and I'm going to pursue that so that I am an upstanding member of my community. And I think that leads me to the next reason, right, is that communal acceptance, that societal acceptance. It's so ingrained. I think in another video I had unpacked a bit of that programming that we experience as women to put others first, to kind of suppress our own needs, to not consider our own wants, and having to grow into that. There has to be some sort of a reprogramming or programming that takes place for us to start to learn how to prioritize ourselves, myself included. That was something that I had to learn how to do, because that wasn't something that I was taught. I was taught the opposite: to cater to think about, to consider someone else's needs before my own. And it's one thing to be a caring, you know, person in your community. That's fine, of course. You know, I believe in community, but it's a completely different thing to suppress your own desires, to suppress your own wants. And so that was an unlearning that I had to go through, to say, oh, wait, Marissa, what feels right to you, right? Does this make sense to you? So that was something that I had to learn how to do as an adult, because that's not something that I was taught early. That was something that I had to come into as an adult. And I think that's something that many women also have to learn how to do if they're not on that path already, right? So this acceptance that we want, it's from the community, it's huge, but it can also be harmful, right? Because it's like, what does that mean? Is our sense of accomplishment, who we are as individuals, it's about this sense of, I need somebody else's approval, right? Somebody else's validation. And that's the harm. That is the harm in succumbing to these pressures. That is the harm, the toxicity, right, in accepting these things as norms, right? We should question them. We should lean in and get curious. I'm not saying, you know, don't marry and don't pursue. I'm saying whatever your pursuit, it needs to be in alignment with your core values, right? So even when it comes to, especially when it comes to partnership and who we decide to allow into our lives in such a meaningful way, there has to be this sense of alignment. There has to be this sense of shared vision. But I think it's not easy to do that. I think we have to go on a journey we have to prioritize ourselves. And so what I want this video to be is an encouragement to you to do that as a woman, whatever stage of life that you're in, to take that time to prioritize yourself. Because it might feel good to check things off a box and saying, yes, I'm accomplishing this thing. Yes, we have the things, or I'm aspiring to have the thing. But you can have the thing, you can have all the things on that list and still not feel like you've arrived if that inner peace isn't there, right? So the homework assignment for today is to consider any moment that you have felt pressure to give into an idea that wasn't your own or didn't feel right to you. When was the last time you felt pressure to succumb to something that you didn't agree with? And what I want you to do is to get curious with that, is to ask questions. I don't want you to beat yourself up or come up with a bunch of answers, but get curious. Lean into that time and why it felt so disorienting for you to sit with that pressure, or to be told that you needed to consider something that just didn't feel right to you. Okay. All right, I will end there. I look forward to hearing your insights. If this is content that resonates with you, or you know a woman that this content would resonate with, please definitely like and share this video with them. And until next time, keep well.